In today's video, we are going to study a game played between Mikhail Botvinnik and Salo Floor. This game was actually played in Reti opening and in Spade Championship in Moscow and in the month of June 1944. My special emphasis would be on the middle game. So we will skip the opening phase. Knight f3, d5, c4, d4. Now e3 by white. Knight c6, developing the knight, e into d4, knight into d4, knight into d4, and queen into d4. And the threat for black is that he is going to play the move e5, knight c3 by white first, now c6 by black, and here d3. White is starting to play the move bishop to e3. And in this version of the game, actually, style of the play, white tries to develop the bishop over here on e3, then try to push forward the pawns, both of these pawns, to take the center control. So countering this plan, black plays the move e5. In one of the other games, and afterwards black is threatening to play the move bishop to b4, pinning the knight over here. Bishop e3, threatening the queen, and now queen d8. Another version of playing is also that you can play the move like over here on d6, and this is also equal. And after that, you may going to develop the knight over here on f6, bishop to e7, and going to castle, and your this knight would be developed over here on f5. So in the game, queen d8 was played. Now bishop e2 by white. Now bishop knight f6, castle. White has completed his development. Now bishop e7, and black is saying that I am going for the castle now. Now white plays the move king h1, and as per the comments by Mikhail Botvinnik himself, I'm going to repeat the comments. A little later in his the same tournament, Lisitian played Mykonos continued f4. In this position, he played the move immediately f4 over here. I'm going to show you some moves of that game. After e into f4, now rook into f4. The point of taking with the rook is that the queen is going to develop on d2. The rook is going to move to h4, threatening this pawn over here. And afterwards, white would try to exchange his this bishop from over here, queen d2. Then he is going to move to f2. This is the concept. This happened actually in the game. Bishop d6 hitting the rook, rook h4, and now bishop f5 threatening the pawn. Now queen f1 threatening the bishop, bishop to g6. As now these pawns are being protected. Now queen f2 first, and now it is hitting the pawn over here on a7. Now knight d7 by black. Now black queen is hitting the rook, bishop h5. Now castle, exchanging the bishops. F into g6, hitting the queen. Now queen to e1. And in the long run, white was able to win this game. You may check this game. This game was played by Mykonos. He was able to create threats over here on these pawns, and was able to win this rook over here. And black was left with the knight and the rook, and white had two rooks in this position. So in the I'm going to come to the Mikhail Botvinnik game where king h1 was played. Now black castles, now f4 by white, and after that you may see that if white takes, black takes, white would be able to play the move d4 and going to take the control over here on of these squares, central squares. So e into d4, e into f4. Now rook into f4, bishop e6, developing the bishop. Now d4 by white, and white is going to play afterwards queen d3, queen d7 by black, and it is a best type of defense actually. Black transfers the bishop in the sequence of the moves from f5 to g6 and protects both of his pawns over here, and any type of challenge over here, hitting this pawn over here, and developing the queen like this and coming over here on g3. So bishop d3 by white. Now bishop g4 hitting the queen. Now queen d2 developing the queen. And white is saying, okay, I'm going to double my rooks on the open f file. Bishop h5 by black. Now bishop f5 threatening the queen. Queen c7 by black. And now rook af1. And white has been able to double his both of the rooks over here on this f file, half open file. Now bishop g6 challenging the bishop on f5. Rook h4. And you may see that how this demonstration of the bishop over here, then to over here, harmless, and bishop to over here. Black has been able to protect all these types of both of these pawns. So in the game afterwards, rook fe8 was played, and now black is threatening to play the move bishop to b4, pinning the knight. So first hitting the queen, black's queen. Queen has to move, queen d8. Now bishop into g6, and now f into g6. The point of this taking with this pawn is that now white has no proper threats to take this side of the board. But if black takes over here with each pawn, now the problem is that now after bishop e5, white is keeping hold of this diagonal a1 to h8 diagonal. And in future there might be threats like rook sacrifice and queen coming over here with the check if knight moves. So in the game f into g6 was played. Now rook h3, queen d7 by black, and a3 by white. And here white stops the pinning of this knight to the queen. Rook ad8 by black, now hitting the pawn. So rook d3 protecting the pawn. And now queen e6. And as per the Mikhail Botvinnik, actually, I'm going to repeat his exact quote that quite in float style, black provokes the formation of a pass t pawn. It is just a float style that he asks his opponent, okay, you want to make a pass pawn? Okay, make it. But I am going to stop you from making it to queen. This is float style. So d5 by white, now c into d5, c into d5, and now queen a6. And now the both of the rooks are pinned. And white black is threatening to take the pawn. So and this rook over here on f1 is threatened if black takes this pawn. So creating a battery, rook d1, now bishop d6, h3 by white, creating luft for the king. Now h6 by black also, creating a luft for black king. Now bishop into d6, queen into d6. Now rook e3, challenging the rook on the e file, rook into e3. Now queen into e3. And white is threatening the pawn on a7, and white is also threatening this check over here. But after developing the rook like this, so a6 protecting the pawn. And Salaflor was actually very specialized in these types of positions artistically. And you may check out he's one of the games against Steiner in Hastings, in which was played in 1932 and 33, and the first game of that match in 1933. And if you analyze that game, you will understand that it would be very difficult to improve the position of the white pieces. Although in that game also, white had a pass pawn. Sorry, his opponent had a pass pawn. So queen d3 by white, hitting the pawn on g6. Now knight h5 by black, coming for the check, rook e1. And after that, white is saying, I am going to play the move queen to e3, and then to the move e6 check. This is the concept. So knight g3 check, king g1, and now rook f8. And if whenever this rook moves from over here, black has this nasty check over here. And next move black is threatening to play is h5. And after that, if white gives him the chance, he is going to play the move h4, solidifying the knight on g6. So white plays the move queen e3. Instead, the second option was immediately knight e4, threatening the queen. That was also a good option. So in the game, queen e3 was played, and now king h7 by black, knight e4, threatening the queen, knight into knight, queen into e4, and rook f5. And this was actually an inexact play at this position was from both sides due to time trouble. Instead, rook f4 was the best continuation. In this way, you are was going to win this pawn over here on d5, because now queen d3, queen c5 check, king h1, and rook d4, and the pawn on d5 is a corner. But in the game, rook f5 was played, immediately hitting the pawn. Now rook d1, protecting the pawn, rook f6, queen b4 by white, trying to exchange the queens. Now queen into b4, e into b4, and here rook d6. And the last move actually, as per the database, was played in time check actually. And it was really very psychological difficult to decide on the move king g8. Instead, in this position, king g8 was to be played first. And white would be able to stop this pawn on over here by bringing the king like this. He was fast enough. Or by moving the rook back and kinging the bring king like this. And white king is very far away. So now white will be fast enough to bring the king nearer to the pawn, to the defense. King g8, king e3, king f7, rook f1 check, and rook f6. And this was the blunder of the game by Salo Floor. And although this was played after the adjournment, but in the analysis, king e7 was a better move, because now king d4, rook b6, hitting the pawn, king c5, rook b5 check, king c4, now rook b6 again, rook to f4. And Salaflor in the analysis thought that this position actually was a lost. And rook e1 check, for example, now king d7, rook e6, and after this uh, pawn endgame actually is a win for white, because white would have these tempo moves. That is the point. And it is a very long analysis. You may, in this position, this is a very vast position. And I'm going to give you this as a homework actually. This position over here, that how black can play and draw the game. And there is a chance that black can draw this game. But the game move which was played in the game, rook f6, was a blunder actually. So rook into rook, g into f6. And I want you people to pause the video and think that how white should continue. I'm going to give you two moves. One is king to d5, sorry, d4. The second one is king e4. The third one is g4, and the fourth one is h4. Which move you would think that is the best one and should be played in this position? I hope you have understood that the best move in this position is the move g4. The point of this g4 move is that white wants to take hold of this light square diagonal, starting from b1 to h7. Because after now king e7, now first h4, and then white is going to play the move h5, king d6, king e4. Now b6 by black, and now h5. Challenging the pawns, g into h5, g into h5. And again, I want you people to pause the video and think that how white you should continue, although it is shown in the video, uh, that what is the white threat over here, and white is going to play the move king f5, and here a5 by black. I want you people to pause the video and think, as black is threatening to take the pawn, so which is the best move? Taking back the pawn or playing the move king f5? Just pause the video and think, because one of the move draws and one of the move wins, and the best move is king f5. The reason behind is that if you take the pawn like this, both sides would be able to queen the pawns. After being into a5, d3, king c5, king f5, king into d5, king into f6, king d4, king g6, king c3, king into h6, king into b3, and after king g6, now a4, and both would be able to make the queens. And black can just go for a draw. So in the game, king f5 was played immediately. Now a into b4, king into f6. Now king into d5, king g6, king e6, king into h6, king f6. And black is trying actually to stop this white king in the cage. But here white has this tempo move b3. Now king is going to forward to h7. Now king f7. Now king g5 first, king g7, king f5 by white, and white is running to pick up these pawns and win the game. King h6, king e5, king into h5, king d5, king g5, king c6, king f5, king into b6, king e6, now king c5, king d7, now king into pawn, king c6. And this position actually is found in all beginner textbooks, that it is white to play and win. Because now it is white who is going to get the opposition after king a5, king b7, king b5, king a7, king c6, king a6, b4, sorry, king a7, now b5, king b8, and now king b6. And here at last, Saloflor resigned the game. Okay, if you found my video interesting, kindly subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you very much.